have the ability to be regenerated using stem cells. Stem cells are those cells from which all other cells stem. And these stem cells can it's a type of cell that can transform itself, as I'm just told you, into a variety of other cells. Turns out, and this is what happens, replication in science is a very important principle. Your findings need to be replicated. And other laboratories have not been able to reproduce Dr. Anversa's findings. And Dr. Anversa's work led to the formation of startup companies to develop new treatments for heart attacks and strokes, and it inspired a clinical trial funded by the National Institutes of Health. My God, this is a scandal. Quote, a couple of papers may be alarming, but 31 additional papers in question is almost unheard of, said Benoit Bruneau, Associate Professor of Cardiovascular Research at Gladstone Institutes in San Francisco. Dr. Bruneau said it is a lab's almost entire body of work and therefore almost an entire field of research put into question, close quote. Well, what about the patients, man? What about all those? They're all in a twist about this guy's credentials and the lab being his. What about the people that believed in this and had that treatment? What about them? Lest we forget them. Harvard Medical School and Brigham and Women's Hospital began the review of Dr. Anversa's publications back in 2013. And in April 2017, Brigham and Women's Hospital agreed to pay $10 million to the federal government to settle accusations that Dr. Anversa submitted fraudulent data to get research funding. Oh, my God. Looking at a picture of him. Do you have that story? Did I send it to you?
Yep.
Officials at Harvard declined to comment on why it took so long. That's what I'm sitting here wondering. Dr. Anversa, who's a cardiac researcher, he rocketed to fame, they report, in 2001 with a flashy paper claiming that, contrary to scientific consensus, heart muscle could be regenerated. I mean, he had a theory or a hypothesis that went against the grain. Now, if it would have been true, that research had enormous implications for cardiac patients worldwide. So what he did was he took, supposedly, which apparently he didn't, took stem cells from bone marrow and injected them into the heart. And if by magic, he reported, the stem cells turned into heart cells and repaired damage. Let me ask you something. You know, I'm not a cardiac researcher, and I haven't done stem cell research. I can't understand how people didn't become suspect of that right out of the box, right out of the shoot. How could you not pay attention to that? Heart muscles do not regenerate, man. Hell, I learned that in my physiology class. And what data? I mean, he had no empirical support. He had no theoretical support to offer that kind of idea and make people believe it. All he had were his own data, which apparently were fabricated. So he had no theories. He had no empirical support for what he was proposing, asserting, hypothesizing. And when you're saying we can regenerate heart muscle from stem cells, heart muscle does not regenerate. Brain cells do not regenerate. and they let that slide. I wonder. I wonder if there were other investigators who were suspicious and said, "Wait a minute. There's something wrong here." They should have he got 31 studies out. 31. Okay? And what makes me mad is, okay, the scandal, I get it. But it's the patients. What about the people that, maybe had those in those trials that received this kind of treatment? Nobody's been able to duplicate his work. Well, when you're making up stuff,